Broadcast is back, baby.
But watch Avatar. It's really
Okay, I will. I will. I will.
so. Anna, I developed a theory this week. I want to share
Okay.
with you. I want to share. I think that all of us, we all need somehow to find a way to be connected to nature, in any way. It's something that's part of us. That's why it's so heartbreaking to read things like "Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee" or the first Avatar, "Dancing with Wolves," Pocahontas, because we come from nature, right? We are animals. We used to live in nature, and as much as we like to think ourselves of those like superior beings that can live in the city, I mean, it's proven that cities are not healthy for us on the long term, right? Have you ever been to the nature and then you came back and you just had this overwhelming feeling of peace, interior peace and calm? And that's because that's where we come from. That's where we belong. Of course, no one's gonna go and live in the jungle. I mean, most of us won't. But what I mean is, like, most of us, we miss this connection to nature, and we try. That's my theory. Subconsciously, we're always looking for it. How come? Maybe by having a pet at home, because that's something more nature-like, or having a hobby that involves maybe hiking or wrestling, because like you're more in your animal state. You're in this fight or flight primal state. So we all subconsciously try to find ways to connect to this primal self, even though we're not aware of it.
Probably. I mean, I love to be in nature. I actually, before I became an artist, I wanted to work with animals. I worked in a zoo.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I worked with animals. I've been a leader of a Jane Goodall Roots and Shoots program. If you know who Jane Goodall is, she's the most amazing person ever.
Who? Django?
Jane Goodall. She's the person who discovered that chimpanzees use tools. So because of her research, we had to define humans, because before that humans were defined as the tool makers. And since she discovered that chimpanzees are using tools as well, the whole scientific community had to define humans again. Because if chimpanzees can make tools, that are
Yeah.
chimpanzees humans as well?
Did
So
you met her? Did you met this lady?
I met her actually. She hugged me once.
Oh, that's amazing.
And yeah, so like I was working in that particular group because, okay, so like Jane Goodall created this program called Roots and Shoots, and it's basically a program for young people, and young generation, to create a group about nature, about environment, about whatever topic they want to, and work in that group and just make everything a better place, or make oh yeah. But if you Google Jane Goodall, um, I'm pretty sure you will recognize her face. That she's very, yeah, she's very famous.
Oh, I think I've seen her. Yes.
And yeah. So yeah, but like when I was considering, what I want to be when I grow up, I was not very good in physics and chemistry and stuff like that, and that basically kind of prevented me to go to a biologist path. But I was working in a zoo. I was also going to ornithologist camps, so I worked a lot with birds. When you put little rings on the bird's leg and then you can track them and stuff like that. I wanted to be a ranger in a national
That's
park, so
amazing.
I did lots of stuff like this, and I really miss all this stuff. So maybe when AI take over, I'm gonna go and work with animals again, and I will be so happy.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah, but yeah, every time I go on a holidays, it's definitely about nature and hiking and stuff like that, and I really like that. I'm sure you're right. In my case, I'm definitely craving back to to nature. Yeah.
Wow, I had completely forgotten that you worked in a zoo. Anna, you're such an interesting guest. You need to make a podcast part number two. I see wanted to talk with you about motorcycles and more about cats and also about the zoo. We need to do it again.
Would be my pleasure, Bruno.
Hey Anna, thank you very much. So before we close, I just noticed that we have some comments.
Oh my God.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So Hurt is asking, what's her name again? So Jungle, how?
Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall.
Okay, so I'm gonna share the screen again for you, her just for you, Jane Goodall. That she has an
Jane Goodall.
institute,
Yeah. She also
and
has documentaries about her, and like lots of books she wrote. She's the most amazing person on the globe, no doubt about that. She's wonderful. And when I met, okay, one story about her
please,
because
please, please.
it blew my mind. So I was working in a zoo as a volunteer, and we had chimpanzees. And Jane Goodall was visiting the zoo and the city where I was living in. It's called Page, doesn't matter. And we wanted to, as a zoo, we wanted to surprise her with a baby chimpanzee.
Oh,
So there was a baby chimpanzee, which was not usually in the zoo, but somehow they managed to get one. And and she came to visit. And since I was working in the zoo, I was allowed to meet the baby chimpanzee. So she was in a room very separate from everything. The windows were closed, and there were not really many people allowed to go and meet the baby chimpanzee because it's a rare animal. We really had to protect her, and it was like a big thing. But I was like, oh my god, I want to meet her, and they were like, okay, you can meet her. You can come in the room. I came in the room on my tiptoes, and the it's not an owner, but the caretaker of the baby chimpanzee, she told me like, okay, you stand there, be very silent. Now you really slowly go and sit down. And then the baby chimpanzee saw me. She ran to me. She looked at me, and it's like it was mind blowing just to see a chimpanzee so close because it was so human like so human like. I was in shock. I couldn't do anything, and the baby chimpanzee touched my face like this, then hugged me, and then ran away. And I was literally in tears because it was just such a crazy experience, that seeing an animal which are so human like that it's mind blowing. The ears, for example, it has the exact same shape and everything. The eye, like, so I was mind blown, and I was just, yeah, crazy. And then I went out. The day was happening. Jane Goodall made a talk, and the whole idea with the baby chimpanzees was that we were surprised Jane to just show her that, hey, we have a baby chimpanzee here. So it was a huge room with a stage, hundreds of people. Jane had her talk, and at the end, when the I don't know the people from the zoo, they thanked her and everything. So it was everything done. And then the other end of the room, across everyone, across 100 people, there was this person who just appeared with the baby chimpanzee in her arm. And then in the stage, they said like, hey, Jane, we have a surprise for you. Here's a baby chimpanzee. And then Jane saw the baby chimpanzee, and she started to talk with her in a chimpanzee language. So she started
no
to
way.
something like this. I can't talk chimpanzee, obviously, but she, and what happened, Jane was standing there, hundreds of people's baby chimpanzee. She was wearing a diaper. She was so tiny, and she was scared. Like, I had to like be very quiet when I met her and just like really. And then the baby chimpanzee heard this. She just jumped from her caretaker, ran across the whole room, which was a huge room, across all the people, and jumped on Jane, hugged her, and never let go. And everyone was just mind blown. Like, no one made a sound because the whole thing was just so mind blowing that baby chimpanzee, who was really scared shitless because of, she's not in a jungle, she's not with her parents, she's with a huge room with hundreds of people in it. And then Jane talked to her and made her just run through everything, conquer her fears, and hug her, and just stayed with her. And it was like one of the craziest things I've ever seen. It was really mind blowing. It was like, holy shit. Yeah. So that's Jane Goodall.
Wow.
It's crazy. It was
Wow.
crazy. Yeah.
Wow. I can't still get my head around that she could talk chimpanzee.
Yeah. And when we met, because like she met all the Roots and Shoots group in that
Yeah.
city, and I was a kid, right? So I was really like, I don't know, high school max, maybe 14, 13. And then we told her what our group is about and what we're doing. And then she said like, okay, I'm gonna greet you in a chimpanzee way. And then she hugged me
Yeah.
really
The
tight.
chimpanzee, not Jane.
No, Jane. The
Oh,
chimpanzee
Jane.
was
Okay.
not there at
Okay.
that meeting. And so Jane hugged me very tight, and she started to talk chimpanzee in my ear, like ooh, 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 something like this, and I was like, oh my god, I will never shower again. Jane Goodall hug me. Yeah. But actually, every time she has a talk, she introduces herself in a chimpanzee way. So she's like doing this chimpanzee sound and saying like, "This is me. This is Jane." Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. She
It's
also has a
amazing.
podcast actually called Hopecast. And
Hopecast.
yeah, and she's talking about all kinds of hopeful things because technological evolution and all the hopeful things which are happening in our world, because not everything is bad. There's still hope. We can survive.
We can. Man, it's crazy. Like the chimpanzees are tiny humans, right?
Yeah,
They,
they
I,
can communicate. They can learn sign language. They're very like they're basically like us. I think like 99% of our genes are the same. So
yet we see ourselves again like this superior species separate from the animals. We're not.
we're
They
not.
are way smarter than we give them credit for.
But
You remind, yeah, sorry.
I was just remembering that was a huge turning away from the comment questions. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's great. That's perfect, Anna. You actually reminded me of this YouTube video that I watched like yesterday or something. This guy had like a CD. He was in the car, so the guy he was driving, and he had a chimpanzee pet with him. I don't know if they work in a zoo or something. And the guy was filming, and he took a CD out to put it on the car to listen to music. As soon as the chimpanzee saw the CD, he was start ooh, 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 ooh. He started getting super excited, like a little kid, really like a little kid. And he actually took the CD from the guy and put it on the thing. And it was some rock music, ACDC or something. And the chimpanzee started like balancing the head, like yeah, like really loving it, like a tiny human. It's amazing.
Yeah, they're extremely intelligent. They're really not pets, though. They're really not pets. I wanted, so when I was working in the zoo, I wanted to have a monkey pet. I was I could have had it very easily. There
Why
are
why
lots
didn't you?
because they're not pets. They're really not pets. That's
What do you
like
mean they're aggressive sometimes?
they're too intelligent to have them
Mm,
as pets. They're like you have to respect some kinds of animals are just really not meant to be. And even though I could have had one easily. I wanted to have a I don't know what's the English name of that a skull-faced monkey. They're like tiny, extremely cute, very intelligent. You can teach them how to steal and
what?
and stuff like that. But the more I researched, they're really, really not pets. And there are regulations, what kind of animals you can keep at home, and they're there for a reason. And there's that's not the one actually.
Scarface
Um,
monkey?
I actually don't know the English name of that monkey. Let me Google in Hungarian,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Anna,
okay, common squirrel monkey. Common squirrel monkey.
okay. Common squirrel monkey. Oh, you
Yes.
cannot. So you can have those as pets?
No, don't have
Okay.
monkeys as pets.
Oh,
In
that.
general, just don't. Because yeah, you can see them in movies as well, and then a circus and stuff like that. But it's not okay. You have to respect nature more to have to give them their freedom, because they're just not pets. They're not domesticated. They have to live in the wild. Just dogs and cats. That's it. Okay, not that's it, but domesticated animals. That should be enough. Because they're also because they're so intelligent. You can teach them a lot of stuff, but
Mm.
they will only do it when they want to do it. So if they want to throw you with feces in the face, they will do it, and you can do nothing about it. So it's yeah, but they're
Yeah.
super cute. And I've worked with them as well in the zoo. And but then when every time I went in their cage, I had to remove all my piercing earrings,
Oh, okay.
whatever, because they just like, oh, I like it. And then your ear is gone.
And they're super strong, also, right?
Yeah, of course they have
Yeah.
very sharp teeth.
Watch full episodes of the Brewcast on the main YouTube channel, youtube.com/@brewfrasca.